Hey there, gamers and curious minds. Ever wonder how we got from those blocky, pixelated games to the immersive experiences we have today? Video games have come a long way. We're talking about a journey from simple dots on a screen to vast, interconnected worlds filled with adventure and competition. Our adventure begins in the 1950s, a time when computers were the size of refrigerators and video games were a twinkle in a scientist's eye. From there, we'll blast off into the world of arcades, home consoles, and the birth of iconic characters like Mario and Sonic. Hold on tight as we navigate the rise of the internet, online gaming, and the explosive popularity of esports. So, buckle up, grab your controllers, and get ready to explore the evolution of electronic entertainment, from simple pixels to the mind-blowing platforms that entertain millions today. The 1950s, a time of poodle skirts, rock and roll, and the very first video games? You bet! While the world was busy grooving to Elvis, brilliant minds were busy tinkering with computers, laying the groundwork for the gaming revolution. One of the earliest examples, Tennis for Two, popped up in 1958. Created by physicist William Higginbotham, it was as basic as it gets: 2 players, a single line representing a tennis court, and a dot for the ball. No fancy graphics, no sound effects, just pure, simple gameplay. Yet it was revolutionary. People lined up for hours to try this new form of electronic entertainment. Another game changer arrived in 1962 with Space War. Developed by a group of MIT students, this game was a precursor to the space shooters we know and love today. Players controlled spaceships, battling it out in the vastness of space. These early games were primitive by today's standards, but they sparked something special. As the 1960s swung into view, video games started to find their groove. Space War continued to gain traction, inspiring a whole generation of budding game developers. Computers were still massive and expensive though, so gaming remained a niche hobby, mostly confined to universities and research labs. But change was just around the corner, thanks to the rise of arcades. In 1971, Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney unleashed Computer Space, the first commercially available arcade video game. It was a space combat game inspired by, you guessed it, Space War. While it didn't achieve massive success, it paved the way for what was to come. Bushnell and Dabney went on to found Atari, a name synonymous with the golden age of arcade gaming. And then came 1972, the year that changed everything. Atari released Pong, a deceptively simple game that simulated table tennis. The 1970s were a time of bell-bottoms, disco fever, and the golden age of arcade gaming. Arcades became social hubs, places where friends could meet, compete, and share in the thrill of joystick-powered adventures. One game that gobbled up hearts and dots was Pac-Man, released in 1980. This maze chase game, with its iconic yellow protagonist and mischievous ghosts, became an instant sensation. While arcades were booming, home consoles also began to emerge. The Magnavox Odyssey, the first home console, had debuted in 1972, but it was Atari's Atari 2600, released in 1977, that truly brought home gaming into the mainstream. The 1980s, big hair, leg warmers, and the continued reign of arcade games. Arcades were still the coolest place to hang out, with new challenges appearing all the time. Games like Galaga, Donkey Kong, and Miss Pac-Man kept players pumping in quarters, determined to beat their high scores and claim bragging rights. But the 80s also saw home consoles stage a major comeback. After the video game crash of 1983, which nearly destroyed the industry, Nintendo swooped in to save the day. They released the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, in 1985, and it was an instant hit. The NES brought us iconic characters like Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong, launching franchises that are still going strong today. The competition heated up as Sega entered the fray with the Sega Master System in 1986. The 1980s also saw the rise of personal computers, or PCs, as gaming platforms. The 1990s were all about bigger, bolder, and more immersive gaming experiences. This decade saw the rise of 3D graphics, online gaming, and the birth of some of the most iconic game franchises of all time. The 16-bit era kicked off with a bang as Sega released the Sega Genesis in 1989, 1990 in North America. With its blast processing power and edgy attitude, the Genesis became a serious contender to Nintendo's dominance. Sonic the Hedgehog, Sega's answer to Mario, became a global icon, known for his lightning-fast speed and cool demeanor. But the real revolution came with the introduction of 3D gaming. In 1996, Nintendo released the Nintendo 64, a console that blew everyone's minds with its groundbreaking 3D graphics and innovative analog controller. The 90s also witnessed the dawn of the internet as we know it. The 2000s were a time of rapid technological advancements, and the gaming industry was no exception. This decade saw online gaming explode in popularity, motion controls shake things up, and the rise of handheld consoles that let you take your games on the go. Sony's PlayStation 2, released in 2000, became the best-selling console of all time, thanks in part to its built-in DVD player and a vast library of games. Microsoft joined the console wars with the Xbox in 2001, bringing its online gaming service, Xbox Live, to the forefront. Xbox Live revolutionized online console gaming, making it easier than ever for players to connect and compete with each other. Nintendo, never one to be left behind, released the GameCube in 2001, known for its quirky design and innovative mini-discs. In 2006, Nintendo once again shook things up with the Wii, a console that introduced motion controls to the mainstream. Games like Wii Sports and Wii Fit became instant hits, bringing video games to a wider audience, including families and casual gamers. The 2010s were a time of smartphones, social media, and the rise of mobile gaming. Games were no longer confined to consoles and PCs. They were now available anytime, anywhere, right in the palm of your hand. This decade also saw the meteoric rise of esports as competitive gaming moved from basements to massive arenas. Mobile gaming exploded in popularity thanks to the widespread adoption of smartphones and tablets. Games like Angry Birds, Candy Crush Saga, and Clash of Clans became global phenomena played by millions of people around the world. Meanwhile, esports went from a niche hobby to a global phenomenon. Massive tournaments for games like League of Legends, Dota 2, and Fortnite filled stadiums with passionate fans, while professional gamers became bona fide celebrities. Consoles continued to evolve, with Sony's PlayStation 4 and Microsoft's Xbox One offering more powerful hardware and enhanced online capabilities. The 2020s have ushered in a new era of gaming, one defined by cloud gaming, the metaverse, and the continued blurring of lines between the real and digital worlds. Cloud gaming platforms like Google Stadia, NVIDIA GeForce Now, and Xbox Cloud Gaming have made it possible to play high-quality games on a variety of devices, from smartphones and tablets to smart TVs and even low-powered laptops. With cloud gaming, the game itself resides on powerful servers and data centers, eliminating the need for expensive hardware and making gaming more accessible than ever before. The concept of the metaverse, a persistent shared virtual world where people can interact with each other and digital content in immersive ways, has also gained significant traction. Companies like Meta, formerly Facebook, and Epic Games are investing heavily in building metaverse platforms, envisioning a future where people work, play, and socialize in interconnected virtual spaces. From those humble beginnings with Tennis for Two to the mind-blowing possibilities of the metaverse, video games have come a long way. We've seen consoles shrink in size while games have grown exponentially in scope and complexity. So, what does the future hold for video games? One thing's for sure, it's going to be exciting. Cloud gaming is set to revolutionize how we access and play games, making them more convenient and accessible than ever before. The metaverse holds the potential to transform how we interact with each other and digital content, creating persistent, shared worlds where anything is possible. Virtual reality and augmented reality will continue to break down barriers between the real and virtual, immersing us in experiences that were once the stuff of science fiction. So, buckle up, gamers, because the future of fun is limited only by our imaginations.